Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here with my review of Uchu Sentai Kyuranger episode 3. I almost said 4 there. Could be 4. I don't know, I messed up the Ninja Steel number this week. But anyway, so third episode was the debut of Sasori Orange. And I thought this was a really good episode. Perhaps one of its strongest episodes. That sounds really weird to say with only 3 episodes. But maybe its strongest episode in the first 3 so far in some aspects. That was a really confusing way of saying that. But anyway, I liked the episode. There was quite a bit I liked about the episode. It actually saw several interesting developments. I mean, first of all, not only was it just Sasori's debut, but it also acted as a background episode for Champ, which was neat, where, unless it was stated somewhere else or in an article or something I didn't really pay attention to, but like, we found out that he was made by this doctor, Dr. Giro. He's Android 22. No, I'm just kidding. But he was made by a doctor who essentially then taught him about human emotions to fight the dark matter people. And it's funny because I'm assuming that's just kind of inferred, the way they set the scene up, but like right after he said that, like he was kind of implied that he had already been built before, and then he was just taught human emotions to fight the dark matter. And then I was thinking in my head, like, oh, I wonder what he was built of before that. And then like the very next scene, he said he was getting back from a robot fighting championship. So I think that's kind of funny that presumably this doctor made him for like robot fights, but then he decided to teach him to be like kind so that he could help people. I don't know, it was just kind of funny. Like I kind of want to find a little bit more about that later, but I still really like Champ. And I liked getting a little bit of backstory from this week. I thought it was a nice way of bringing a backstory in and sort of tying it to Sasori's, which is clearly, I mean, some sort of misunderstanding. I think Sasori, or Stinger or whatever, at one point did say, like, I'll pay for that crime, so maybe he did do it, or but in a different way. I think it's going to end up being like he was too late to save him or something, but it's like clearly one of those classic toku or even just movie misunderstandings where someone's standing over a body and they're instantly guilty. So there's that bit, but I just like the way that ended up happening, so it wasn't just solely about you know, Sasori. And then also, even though Lucky was involved tooting his horn in our face, it wasn't just Lucky finding the new Ranger of the Week like last week and just going Lucky, like he was there doing that. But I like that they tied it to Champ too, so it wasn't just all about Lucky, and like every single episode isn't about Lucky shrieking in the face of the latest Ranger. But so I liked that bit. Sasori is interesting. He's probably my favorite suit, or one of my favorite suits, although to be honest, I wish they didn't have the lips. Like some of them it works, but like when they showed close-ups of Sasori, it just looks so creeper. Like it would just look so much cooler with a panel. But anyway, it's my favorite suit, so I was looking forward to his debut, and he's a little bit more of that badass type. But I feel like there's 2 characters that were introduced in this episode, which is him and the Commander, which are like right on the edge where I could like him or like not like him, which I guess is the only 2 ways it can really go. I guess there's indifference, but like I think he's decent so far, and I really like some of the stuff they did with him, but he definitely shows shades of that character that's like, oh, I fight strong people and the strong, and I only respect you to defeat me and strong. And it's kind of one of those other like top 3 toku archetypes that I'm kind of over. Like that whole like I only fight the strong, I respect you if you defeat me strong, just saying the word strong a lot, and this is my battle. Like I don't know, it's just all kind of annoying stuff. It's definitely not quite as annoying as like Lucky's character type, because that's just really in your face about it. But like we'll have to see. Like this episode is kind of hard to judge to see how he ends up being in the long run, or even once he is fully integrated into the cast. But like it's on the edge there where I'm like hoping it doesn't become too annoying with that character type. But I do like how they introduced him in terms of, well, not only the mystery with Champ, but I do like that it was different. Instead of like them finding him either right before he finds the Gyutama or with the Gyutama, and then them giving him a Saiza blaster. He actually already had it for some reason and already knew how to transform and was against them a bit. I just thought it was interesting to change things up a little bit, and at the end of the episode he didn't even join them. That's 2 things I liked, is that he didn't even join them yet, and they didn't show off yet the combination that he can do with Kureno. Like I mentioned last week, it would have been nice to hold off showing Gold and Silvers, and I like that we didn't finish everything. I was honestly expecting this to be at least somewhat resolved by the end, so I was pleasantly surprised that we didn't resolve it. And it seems pretty clear that he wouldn't fully work with the dark matter. It was also kind of weird because they approached him and they're like, oh, we can help you, and then they brought in people to help him fight, and then he's like, get out of my way, and then he thanked him later for the help. I don't know, it was weird. It was like some toku logic, but I think it's interesting. Like I said, I don't think he's fully committed to working with the dark matter. I think he's probably using them somehow for whatever reason. But regardless of how that goes down, I just appreciate the fact that we didn't resolve it. And then next week we're getting Pink, and I'm gonna assume that we're not gonna resolve Sasori next week with Pink. We might, but I just like that. It's not like the slowest burn, like certain things could still be a little bit slower in some aspects, but I do appreciate that the pacing of Kyuranger is actually a bit slower than I thought it would be, given that most recent Toku was like bam, 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 and we're still getting debuts of stuff, but I just think it's kind of nice that like they're actually taking their time in some aspects that I didn't think they would be. So I like that. Also, I just want to briefly mention before I forget it, speaking of Lucky, like, it was kind of like last week's where he wasn't as abrasive as the first episode, but he was still annoying. I still don't like him. But there was a funny moment when he stopped Champ and Stinger from fighting, and he says, "Revenge isn't the answer, but I'll help you get vengeance." And then Champ just says, "You're not making any sense." And, like, that was so great, because it was, like, calling him out on one of those classic Toku nonsense lines that makes no sense. Like, I wish Champ would have said that when Lucky said whatever the heck he said to Garu in the first episode, where he's like, "I'm gonna outlive you because I'm stronger than you, and you're strong, so we fight together, strong!" And I was like, that doesn't even make any sense. So I wish he would have said that, so I thought that was kind of a funny moment. Also, this was the debut episode for the Commander guy, which is kind of like Doggy Kruger if he was baby annoying. Like, that's the other one I was talking about of a character debut that is on the edge, because it's like he's not 100% annoying or anything, but he's not 100% more of like the serious commander type. He seems to be somewhere in the middle, and it seems like right on the edge where time will tell whether I find him charming or annoying or a mixture of both. I think in this episode was a mixture of both. I found the idea of him trying to come up with a catchphrase of like Roger or you know, whatever, it ended up being OQ. I thought that was kind of amusing, and they did it later, but then there were times where he kind of lost focus and it was annoying, so it's like, it's right on that edge. Like, I'm hoping it leans more towards the charming edge. So, and because he's, especially since he's gonna become purple later and stuff like that, so, it's kind of like on the cautious, like him and Sasori, the way I feel about him is like the perfect example of me on Kyuranger, where I'm enjoying it, but like I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop, so like I'm right on the edge, but yeah, we'll have to see. And it's kind of funny, because I meant to mention last week the fact that it was interesting we haven't even seen him yet. I kept forgetting about him because we have so much ground to cover with Kyuranger in terms of how many Rangers, because we've known about him for a long time, and it's interesting that we waited till episode 3 to get him. So that's another bit of pacing that I kind of liked, so that's kind of interesting. I still like the way that the villains are a little bit different in terms of, at least now, structure, you know. It's not this typical, like, Monster Land, destroy, get big. Like, you have generals or whatever already established. In this case, like, that dude sent reinforcements. The little thing that drains, like, planet energy actually just transformed into the robot piloted by one of the henchmen. I like little things like that. And I don't know whether the series will go up or downhill, but if they keep doing that, I'll at least always appreciate that, because I like things like that. I said that a million times, but kind of like Go Busters. I just appreciated the way the fights were structured differently, and some series will start off doing things like that. I keep saying like that, but where they have the fight structured differently from the norm, and then they quickly fall into a familiar pattern. So just on sort of a superficial fight level, I'd like to see them continue to operate a little bit differently, which they have done for 3 episodes. But yeah, overall, I felt like I sound kind of more nitpicky than I meant to be. But I really did enjoy this episode. I thought it was a good debut for Sasori. It subverted my expectations about them resolving it all in one. I thought there was just a lot to enjoy, and I'm still enjoying the series so far. But again, much like with Ninja Steel, taking week by week, happy to enjoy it for the week, but being very cautious about it. But this week I thought it was a very solid week. I'd probably give it an 8 even. So yeah, anyway, that's about it. Until next time, make sure you got the Crazy Podcast at writersrangernovels.com. And of course, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Till next time, Dawson Ryder, signing out.